Hello dear students. Today we will discuss about the different artifacts that are present in an EEG signal, their characteristics and processing. So the artifacts in an EEG signal can be of physiological or of technical origin. For example, 50 Hz alternating current or the artifact due to digitization of the signal, eye movement and blinks, cardiac activity, muscle activity, respiration, or there can be artifact due to skin potential. So we'll discuss these one by one. So first is the artifacts due to eye movements, that is EOG, which is electrooculogram, which computes the potential difference between cornea and retina. The voltage amplitude, that is proportional to angle of gaze, and proximity of sensor to the eyes, direction of the movement. They can be mixed with the slow EEG signals. Also, eyelid blinks abruptly, challenging waves of high frequency, and substantially they are larger than the background. If we talk about pure EOG reference for artifact cancellation, so we can say that this S cap T is nothing but xt minus N cap T, which is which is basically the noise. So xt is nothing but signal plus noise, so we can write it as st plus nt. So in total it will become st plus nt minus N cap T. So this N cap T, basically it should be nt to recover an corrected signal, that is st. Now we have another activity that will contribute to artifacts in the EEG signal, that is muscle activity. That is measured with electromyogram, which is related to the electric potential that is linked with muscles. That can be recorded during wakefulness, tongue movement, swallowing, chewing. All these will contribute to muscle activity, and further they will produce artifacts in the EEG signal. Also, the shape depends on the degree of muscle contraction, so it will contribute to muscle contraction interference in the signal. So if it is a weak contraction, that will produce low amplitude spike train, and if it is increasing contraction, then there will be decrease in interspike distance. That means it will be kind of colored noise, and it occurs less during sleep. Contrast to eye movements, the spectral properties of this, they will overlap with beta band, that is 15 to 30 Hertz. And with this it is very difficult to get the pure reference signal. Now we have another activity which contributes to artifact in the EEG signal, that is cardiac activity. The amplitude is usually low on the scalp surface when we are that is 1 to 2 microvolt compared to EEG, that is 20 to 100 microvolt. But still it hampers the certain electrodes, and it affects depends on the proband's anatomy. A regular pattern of heartbeat helps revealing it. We can calling it as arrhythmias. Can be mistaken for epileptic waveforms, and there can be reference ECG we can use for cancellation of these cardiac activities. Now another activity which contributes to artifacts are the electrodes and the equipment. So moving electrodes change DC contact potential, that is electrode pop, and abrupt change of baseline level followed by gradual return to original baseline. There can be amplifier noise, and amplitude clipping by A to D converter, insufficient isolation that will produce 50 to 60 Hz power interference. So now there are various methods how we can process the signal to reduce the artifacts. So that can be filtering, low pass filter for we are using for EMG activity, or burst of EMG spikes could be smoothed into alpha waves using low pass filter, and sharp waves gets distorted. So artifact processing will produce rejection or cancellation of the artifacts, as I have that can be the additive noise or it can be the multiplicative noise, and this additive noise is easy to remove, but this multiplicative noise is little bit difficult, so we can remove by other methods like homomorphic filtering, etc. And for ease, additive noise is preferred because of its simplicity and optimal estimation techniques. Now we have another method, that is averaging. So it assumes that only the EEG noise varies from trial to trial, but the amplitude and latency varies. So you can see these are the different example, and if we are taking different number of trials and we are producing the average, so signal to noise ratio will increase as a function of square root of the number of trials. It is always better to try to decrease sources of noise than to increase the number of trials. Then next is the use of bandpass filters. If the analysis is restricted to certain frequency bands, an automated algorithm can be designed to only analyze activity in this frequency band. For example, we can use a 1 to 20 Hz bandpass filter that may be used to remove muscle artifacts. This method is not very useful for analysis of the entire bandwidth of EEG, as artifacts can occur at any frequency. Even for very narrow frequency bands, there may be significant artifact remaining after bandpass filtering. So the process of filtering may significantly after the appearance of EEG and make subsequent identification of artifacts more difficult. Then we have another method, that is simply the manual rejection of artifact segments. In this case, we can employ a technologist or EEG viewer which reviews the entire EEG recording and marks the segments with artifacts. And this is a reliable method and may detect some artifact that would be missed by automated techniques. So, but it is time consuming, and however, the reader fatigue may become problematic for long or multi-channel recordings. So, subtle or brief artifacts may not be identified using this method of manual rejection, and different readers may have different thresholds for rejection. So this method also, it is only possible for offline, or we can say it is not applicable for real-time analysis. Then we have another, which is automatic rejection of artifact segments. This technique rejects short segments of EEG if the segment exceeds a predefined threshold. These thresholds can be simple analysis of the EEG channel themselves, such as amplitude, number of zero crossings, or 60 Hz artifact. So we can keep some parameter to check whether that is having artifact segment is having artifact or not. So if a segment shows very high amplitude against these parameters, it is eliminated, and if it is not showing very high, then we can keep that one. So some techniques use other special electrodes to identify artifact signals, such as this electrooculogram, electromyogram, electrocardiogram, or accelerometers. So if the signal in these channels exceeds a threshold, the segment of that a particular EEG signal will be rejected. So this technique can be used online as well as offline. This automatic rejection techniques will not identify all possible artifacts, especially for ambulatory patients or in electricity hostile environments. Again, the entire EEG segment is rejected if the threshold is exceeded, so some useful EEG may be eliminated. Source decomposition techniques which aim to decompose EEG signals into individual components that represent EEG and others that represent artifact. Now, once the artifact component is identified, it is removed and other remaining signal is recomposed. So examples of these methods include spatial filtering, principal component analysis, and independent component analysis. So we'll discuss some of these in some lectures. And also wavelet-based and neural network algorithms allow adaptation of this method to a wider variety of artifact types. Then we have another method that is automatic subtraction of artifact. These methods aim to identify artifact and to remove only the artifact from the recording, leaving a clean EEG for digital analysis. Simultaneously recorded electrooculogram can be subtracted from EEG channel using a computer. The algorithm must be adapted for means it can be adapted for each individual patient, and these techniques may result in distortion of the EEG signal as EOG signal also contains some normal brain signals that will be subtracted. So this is all in this lecture. More of this processing we'll discuss in some of other lectures like independent component analysis, wavelet based analysis for EEG signals. So for now, thank you so much.